we get to my trunk show this evening, I just wanted to give you a little tour of my sewing room. As you can see, it's not very big. It looks crowded, but I try to decorate it with fabric and all of my sewing supplies as nicely as I can. I do have all of my fabric out where I can see it. If I had it hidden away, my inspiration would be gone and I wouldn't be planning quilts as I typically like to plan them. So what I have here is fabrics in different groupings. This is all of my golds and reds and some neutrals in there. Everything that you see is reproduction fabric. The only non-reproduction fabric I have is this group here and this basket, which contains some hand-dyed and batiks. Over here I have reproduction 30s prints. Right now I'm working on a backing. I'm actually going to piece a backing for this red, black, and white quilt. And I'm going to take different fabric sections of my red, black, and white fabric, and I'm going to actually piece a backing, which I've never done before. Over here I have my pink and brown. I made one large pink and brown quilt thinking I would really use up most of the fabric. No, not at all. I've got tons left over to make several more quilts, I'm sure. This basket contains brights, still reproduction fabrics, and Dover, and some Judy Rothermel, but I love the brightness of these and have several projects going using this coloration. My neutrals, purples, blues. I don't have a lot of purple and blue, so I'm starting to collect a little bit more. This is an applique project I'm working on. I actually like to stand in applique. So this is the room with the most beautiful lighting, and I'll have a movie on in the background. I'm not sure why, but it's how I've always done it. I can sit and do it, of course, and we'll do that from time to time. But I sit at work at Nordstrom all day. So standing and quilting is what I'm used to doing at home. Underneath this, I have other projects in boxes. The applique I'm working on. This is a little block I bought the other day at an antique store. I don't do that often, but I thought this was so cute when my husband and I were out and about. It says Lauren Metcalf. Up north I bought it, so if anybody knows Lauren Metcalf. This project is my Lucy Boston paper piecing project I'm working on. This is one of the blocks. As you can see, you take your reproduction fabric and you fussy cut it. I think I'm going to aim for 9 blocks, and then once I put it all together, it won't be that large, but it's an awfully fun project to work on. And as you can see, I keep lots of my projects in little boxes and try to have everything organized and ready to go. I started quilting in 2003, 2004 mostly, and won my first ribbon in 2008 and won a ribbon each year after that, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. And in 2013, I won an ACQ ribbon for this Crazy Quilt block. The ribbon I'm most proud of is in 2008, I mailed a quilt to Pueblo and entered it into the Colorado State Fair. I won first place in traditional piecing, and I also won a ribbon as a first-time entry. The winnings were a check for $20. I was very proud. I will show you that quilt as part of my exhibit this evening. As you can see, I have quite a few knickknacks in my room, mostly things people have given me. I have a magic wand for when I really need to get something completed and I'm on a deadline. This really helps. I wave it over my project and boy, it's finished momentarily. The TV I have is basically just for DVDs. It's not hooked up to cable or regular television stations. I can sit and watch movies all day. I have my movie collection here, which mostly consists of period movies from the Kings and Queens of England to Jane Austen. I watch them over and over and over. I've got Downton Abbey, the first 3 seasons. This is a terrific series called A Lark Rise to Candleford. One of the groups of fabric I have are my reproduction holiday fabric. Mostly Marcus Brothers, Judy Rothermel, and background holiday fabric. In these little baskets I keep mini half square triangles. Sometimes these are offshoots or leftovers from projects I'm currently working on. Sometimes I'll have a wild hair and I'll just make little tiny half square triangles. Sometimes I work on making yo-yos. At this time they are all from one fabric line called Pomegranate from the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum. This group of fabric up here, I have my yardage of neutrals and browns for piecing and for backing. Another group of neutrals. In this red basket I have my reproduction patriotic fabric. This is a beautiful gift I received. Actually, it was from a gift exchange. We have a volunteer tea at the Rocky Mountain Quilt Museum once a year, and this is one of the things I won. I love it so much, I don't know what to do with it. What I like to do is save tea cartons and put fat quarters in them, fat quarters that I've grouped together or I've bought together in a set. And these little tea cartons are a cute way to display them. I do get comments in this room about fabric fading. Yes, this is a very bright room and fabrics may fade, but I haven't had them out very long. I tend to open them up, press them, and fold them in different ways. And if there is a little fading, since I do mostly piecing, I'll just trim the faded piece away. So I don't mind. I like having my fabric out. Typically, this basket holds projects that I'm quilting myself. I made this Jacob's Ladder quilt and had Mary Jones baste it for me with the intention of hand quilting it. Well, as you can see, well, maybe you can't see, but there are no hand quilting stitches on here. I actually had Linda Rhodes help me redesign it. I'm going to cut the border down and I'm going to machine quilt it. And one day it'll be a finished quilt, one that I actually machine quilted myself. I have, excuse me, we have a problem here with our smoke detector. Husband is not here to change the battery, so hopefully it won't be too annoying. I have a few quilts that I'd like to show. These are my comfy cozies. This fabric I bought in 2005 in Albany, New York, and made this beautiful quilt. As you can see, it's been washed and lovingly used quite a bit. Mostly reproduction fabric. This one is a log cabin. The black fabric I bought at Denver Fabrics years and years ago when they were closing down their quilting fabric shop. If I had had more of this fabric, I would have made this in king size, as I really, really love this quilt. This one is an Ocean Waves, made out of red reproduction and a taupe and black toile. I did all the machine quilting. As you can see, it's been washed and cuddled with quite a bit. This one we tend to bring on around the holidays, even though it's not too holiday. It's a big block quilt. I did the quilting on my own, and again, washed quite a bit and lovingly used. I try to display quilts around my home. I have a group of folded quilts that tend to get folded and unfolded and redisplayed several times throughout the season or the year. My husband and I are always thinking of ways of displaying my quilts around the home. We have a ledge here, and of course every holiday I try to put a holiday themed quilt up. Right now it's the middle of summer and I have this pretty quilt displayed. Another thing I do while standing is sew on my bindings. I'm in my living room, I can watch TV, I have my quilts folded right here, and I love to sew on my bindings, again while standing. One thing I just need to watch while hand sewing is relaxed shoulders. I always take a few breaths every few minutes and relax my shoulders. This is the entrance to my sewing room where I display some small quilts, a map of England, my nephew's calendar he made of Orcas Island, and my collection of Wee Forest folk. I also have displayed a quilt I made for an ACQ challenge. This is one that also won a ribbon. It was the black and white challenge where you got to add your favorite color as the third color. This is why I hardly get any work done. This is why, right in the middle of my projects,